Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our Lunch and Learn today. And before we get started, I'm going to go through a couple of housekeeping details. So my name is Angie Marcus, and I am the Water Efficiency Program Supervisor with the Cobb County Water System. And we have got Chrissy over here behind the camera who is running tech support. So if you have any questions or having any problems, we've actually got a chat box up in the top right-hand corner, or the bottom right-hand corner, sorry about that. So the bottom right, there should be a chat button with a speech bubble. And if you click on that, you should be able to chat. And Chrissy is monitoring that and will help you out in any way that she might be able to help you out with. Also, if you think of any questions during our Lunch and Learn, go ahead and type those in the chat box when you think of them, and we'll come back to those at the very end and be able to answer those. If you can also look down at the bottom of your screen and you'll see a mute button. If you can make sure that your sound is muted, that would be great. Chrissy's going to be able to mute everybody, but just in case somebody joins us, make sure that you've got yourself muted. And let's make sure that you can hear me as well. So you should be able to turn your volume up on your computer if you can't hear me very well and be able to hear me a little bit better. And in order to see me and the entire presentation in the best view possible, at the top right of your screen, there should be a speaker or gallery or view, one of those buttons to be able to change the view of your screen. And you want to make sure you have that on speaker or stage view. And that'll let you be able to see the entire presentation. And we've got a couple of videos to show, and that'll let you see the videos as well. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We've got a couple of people coming in a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So as I said earlier, my name is Angie Marcus, and I am the Cobb County Water System Water Efficiency Program Supervisor. And today we are going to become a leak detective. So I want you to put on your leak detector hat, and we're going to hunt down those leaks in our house. So every year, Cobb County Water System helps to promote Fix a Leak Week. And Fix a Leak Week is sponsored by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's WaterSense program. And during this week, it always takes place in March. And it's a time when families are encouraged to check their homes and around their house for any leaks that they might find and repair those leaks to have them fixed. Now, Fix a Leak Week may only be officially happen in 1 week in March, but that does not mean that that is the only time that you need to be aware of any possible leaks in your house and checking your home for possible leaks. Leaks use a tremendous amount of water. Thousands of gallons of water a day can be lost to leaks, as well as to problems within your house and toilet leaks and sink leaks. And the faster you get those leaks fixed, then the faster you can stop wasting water and also losing money on your water bill. So how do you check if you might have a leak somewhere in your home? Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can check and see if you might have a leak in your house. First way to check is to check your water bill each month. Cobb County Water System reads your water meter once a month, and we try to read your water meter within a 28 to 32 day window. So you've got about the same number of days listed on your water bill for each month. And you can look at that water bill every month, and you can look for yearly changes. Your water bill will show a 13-month range of months. So it's March right now, so it'll show March of 2020 through March of 2021 on your water bill. Did you have a huge difference in your water bill between March of 2020 and March of 2021? If you didn't have any major life changes, like if you had a baby, they use a lot of water washing clothes. So if you didn't have any major changes that might have increased your water usage, and you had a huge amount of water difference and a lot more usage of water this March than you did of last March, then you might have a leak somewhere in your house. You can also look for spikes. Do you consistently have about the same amount of water use, and then all of a sudden 1 month you have a spike in that water bill? If you look down at our picture of the water bill, you can see on the far left, there's definitely a spike in their water usage. You've got a couple of spikes there. That might be a leak that you have somewhere in your house. Also, you can look seasonally. Typically, homeowners use more water in the summertime than they do in the wintertime because of outdoor watering. If you have an irrigation system, those all use a little bit more water than you would normally use in the wintertime when you're not using those. You're not outdoor watering and you're usually not using your irrigation system in the wintertime. So if it's wintertime and you're using the same amount of water that you're using in the summertime and you do have an irrigation system or you do outdoor water, you might have a leak somewhere in your home during that wintertime, during those winter months. So the other way that you can check and see if you've got, you might have a leak is to read your water meter. And reading your water meter is a great way to check and see if you might have a sneaky leak. Sneaky leaks are those leaks that you can't really see and you can't really hear, but they are there, the silent leaks. Now, clearly we can't have a water meter with a yard here in the studio. So what we've got is a short video to show you that will actually show you how to read your water meter and how to be able to see your water meter. So Chrissy's going to go ahead and play that video now.
Hi, I'm Angie Marcus with the Cobb County Water System. Do you think you might have a leak inside your home, but you've checked all of the common culprits? Toilets, faucets, hot water heater, outside irrigation system, and can't find a leak? You can actually use your outside water meter to help you determine if you might have a leak inside your home.
Your first step is to make sure there is no water being used inside or outside your home. No clothes washer filling, no dishwasher running, no watering outside. You'll need to locate your water meter box outside. Remove the lid and look for your meter inside. Make sure to be careful when lifting the lid. The cool, dark space makes a perfect home for spiders and other living creatures. You may have a leak detector on your meter, a small triangle on the meter dial. If all your water sources are off and the leak detector is rotating, you may have a leak. If you don't have the leak detector on your meter, make a note of the number of gallons listed on your meter. Wait about an hour, make sure there's no water running inside or outside your home, and check the gallons listed on your meter again. If those numbers have changed, you may have a leak.
Leaks can waste thousands of gallons of water in just a few days. Identifying and repairing leaks promptly can not only save water, but also save money on your water bill. For more information on how to repair leaks, visit our website, cobbwater.org.
Silent leaks are very important in catching the leaks before you get your water bill. That you don't have to wait until a month of a leak running, that you've had a leak in your house somewhere for a month, and then you get your water bill and you realize that you might have a leak. So it's really, really important to try and keep track of that. You can check it regularly. You can check your meter regularly and use that meter to see if you might have one of those silent leaks. Another way that you can check and see if you have a leak is to take the 10-minute challenge. Now, the 10-minute challenge is very, very simple. All you have to do is spend 10 minutes walking around your house, looking and listening. You can also not necessarily do it in one sitting. You can take a couple of minutes each day and just do it over a couple of days if that's what you want to do. So you just want to walk around your house and look and listen. Check out your faucets. Do you see any leaking? Do you see any drips coming out slowly? Do you hear any drips coming out? Check inside your faucets if the gaskets are still in good shape. A lot of times the problem with a leaking faucet is just the gasket has worn out and it's getting rotted, and you might have to replace those. Also, look at your shower head. Turn on your shower. Do you see any streams shooting out from where it's connected? Do you have spray going in random places? Do you see the shower dripping? Sometimes even when you turn it all the way off, that shower still drips. Sometimes those leaks are very simple fixes with a little bit of Teflon or plumber's tape attached before you attach the shower head. And we'll show you in a minute how to do that. Probably our biggest culprit of those silent leaks, though, is your toilet. So the easiest thing to do to check your toilet is to take the toilet test. Now, the toilet test takes about 10 minutes. And so while you're taking the toilet test, you can actually walk around your house and look for those leaks in other places. And again, because we clearly can't have a working toilet sitting here in the studio, we've actually got a video to show you how to check your toilet for leaks. And if you do find a leak in your toilet, what's the problem usually, and how do you fix that? So Chrissy's going to show the next video.
To check your toilet for leaks, you're going to need just regular food coloring. I'm going to be using these leak detector dye tabs that come in your indoor kit that you can request for free from us. To check for leaks, you're going to go to the tank of your toilet and open up the back. You're going to put a couple of drops of the food coloring or one of the leak detector tablets and just drop it in the tank. You're going to wait 10 minutes and make sure not to flush your toilet during that time. It's now been 10 minutes. You're going to want to lift the lid and check the bowl of the toilet. If you have dye in your bowl like this toilet, that means you have a leak. Now go ahead and flush your toilet to get rid of all the dye so it doesn't stain your bowl. You may have to flush the toilet several times to get rid of all the dye from the tank, like this one. The first step in replacing the flapper is to turn the water off that leads into the toilet to be able to drain the water from the tank. To turn the water off, you're going to turn the knob clockwise all the way until it stops turning. Now that the water is turned off from the wall, you're going to give the toilet one more flush to drain all of the water in the tank. Before you go to the store to buy a new flapper, go ahead and take this old flapper off and take it with you, and that way you can make sure that you have the right size flapper. A new flapper costs in the range of $5 to $10. The first step to actually replacing the flapper is to remove the chain from the arm inside of the toilet. Then the flapper usually just pops off from the side on each side. And now the flapper's off. To install the new flapper, you do exactly the opposite as you did to remove the old flapper. Place it on the outside, snaps right on, and then hook the chain up. You may have to adjust the location of the chain after a couple of trial flushes. After you replace the flapper, you want to turn the water back on to the tank. Then you want to do your leak test one more time just to make sure that you've got a seal on the flapper. And that was indeed the problem. After the tank is completely filled, you're going to want to do one more leak test. Remember, drop in one leak detector tablet or a couple of drops of food coloring in your tank. Wait 10 minutes without flushing the toilet and then check the bowl for dye. 10 minutes have passed. Let's check our bowl. Looks like the flapper was the problem and we fixed the leak. If you did have dye in the bowl, check the seal on the flapper and make sure you've got a good tight seal. You might have to adjust that chain a couple of times. If you do have a good seal on the flapper, the flapper may not be the problem. You might want to consult a licensed plumber to figure out what's wrong.
So that's if you find that you do have a leak in your toilet, that's the flapper is usually the culprit. That's usually the problem. And replacing the flapper is something you can possibly do yourself, and it's usually a pretty easy fix. But again, if you find that you still have the dye in the toilet after you have replaced the flap, it might be a different problem. You might want to consult a licensed plumber. So what do you do if you find a leak somewhere else? Like for instance, if you find a leak in your sink, you might want to replace the aerator, would probably be the very first place for you to start. Now the aerator is the part on the sink that pokes out the bottom and is the part where the water actually comes out of. And that aerator, when it's unscrewed from your faucet, looks like this. So it's just a little piece that screws into your faucet. There's a couple of different kinds of aerators on different kinds of sinks. There's either a male or a female aerator. So two different kinds of the ones that just screw in. There's also a type of aerator that screws directly into the sink, and it's usually flush with your sink. Those kind of aerators to remove, those require a special tool. You can't just reach up and unscrew those with your hand. So those actually require a special tool. And the female spout aerators, you're going to use a male aerator to screw it in. And the male spout, you're going to use a female aerator to replace. So you've got to make sure that you know what kind of aerator you need before you replace your aerator. Now to replace your aerator, usually a really simple fix. You just unscrew it. Now sometimes it's a little bit harder to unscrew than that, so you might need to get a pair of pliers out to help you unscrew it. If you look inside your aerator, there's going to be a gasket, a little rubber gasket. That rubber gasket can wear out over time and can actually rot out, and it's usually, if you've got an aerator and it's leaking out of your sink, what causes this leak in your sink. So when you turn that faucet on, if you see water coming out of the top of that aerator, probably the problem is that your gasket is old and worn out. It's a lot easier just to get a new aerator than to just get a new gasket, because those aerators can get clogged as well inside, and they're sometimes hard to rinse out and get cleaned out. But if you get a new aerator, that rubber gasket will be brand new and should make a nice seal on your sink. And to replace that gasket, all you would have to do is just simply screw it back in. And then it stays on. And then you would have a new aerator for your sink, and it should fix any leaks you have in your sink. Now, if you happen to have a leaking shower head, there might be a couple of different places that the problem for that shower head is. Like I said earlier, you want to look for leaks or sprays. If you see spray coming out of the top of the shower head when you turn the shower on, that could be a simple fix of just using some Teflon plumber's tape. So when you would unscrew your shower head, again, sometimes it might be a little bit harder to unscrew than this, and it might take some pliers. But you would unscrew your shower head, and you can see the old plumber's tape on the bottom of the spigot. So you would need to remove that plumber's tape. You can take a toothbrush and scrub it off, and then you would place new plumber's tape, just a couple of rings around, and you would want to make sure that you put the plumber's tape on the threaded part and wrap it around clockwise. The reason you want to wrap it around clockwise is that when you replace your shower head or you put the new shower head on, you want to make sure that the plumber's tape is going the same direction as the shower head. And so then you would just replace your shower head, making sure to tighten it tight enough that the water is not going to come out the top. And then you turn your shower on and check and make sure that you don't have the leaks anymore. And usually that's a very simple fix, very quick fix. Those shower heads also have the rubber gaskets in them a lot of times. And if that rubber gasket is wearing out, it can also cause the leak as well. So those are pretty quick ways to be able to tell if your shower head is leaking and your sink is leaking, and ways to fix it. So we talked a little bit earlier, a little bit about and showed you how to fix the toilet. So we've all heard the joke of, is your toilet running? Well, this is the case that if your toilet's running, you definitely want to catch it before it gets away from you and you've got a leak for a long time, and it can really, really run that water bill up and waste lots of water as well as a lot of money on your water bill. You'd be amazed at how much water you can waste just by a leaking toilet and a running toilet. So those are very important places to check for those leaks. And usually you can check two different ways. You can listen. If you go in and listen to your toilet, can you hear it running? Like, if flush the toilet, wait for a little while. When it should be filled up, the tank should be filled up. Is it still running? Can you hear it? You can also look. Do you see that water bubbling up in your toilet bowl after the tank should be filled up? That's usually a little bit bigger of a leak than if you can just hear it. And if you can see it, that's probably a pretty major leak you've got going on in that toilet. So, like I said, you use that leak detector tablets or some food dye, and you can check and see if you do indeed have a leak if you cannot see it or hear it. And then usually the flapper, you can replace the flapper and fix that leak. Now, we've talked about how to find some leaks inside. You don't want to forget about outside your home. That is just as important as for finding those leaks as inside is. And sometimes those leaks are even harder to find because you don't see them and you can't hear them oftentimes. If you open up underneath your kitchen sink and you've got a leak dripping out underneath your sink, chances are you're going to find it because you're going to open up under your sink and you're going to see the dripping water there. But sometimes those outside leaks are a little bit harder to find. You might have an outside faucet, and you also might have an outside irrigation system. Both of those can have leaks and cause major problems as well as losing lots of water and money on that water bill. And those irrigation system leaks are usually a lot harder to find too because your irrigation system is underground, and so you can't see the leaks at all. So you want to check all of your outside faucets, see if you do see a leak dripping out. If the faucet's turned all the way off, is it still dripping? Can you hear water running? Sometimes you might even have a leak in the wall behind that faucet if you've got a problem behind the faucet. And you can hear the water still running even if you have that faucet turned off. Now, like I said, those irrigation systems are underground usually, and so they're a lot harder to find the leaks than just looking at the outside faucet and just looking at it. So you're going to want to look for some things in your yard. You want to look for extra green grass. Like, is there a section of your lawn that has got lush, beautiful, wonderful grass in the middle of summertime, and the rest of your lawn looks kind of normal? That might be because that section of your lawn is constantly being watered by a leak, and you don't want to have that. So you want to make sure that if you've got that lush green part of your lawn, you might have a leak in that part of your irrigation system. And if you've got leaks coming out of your irrigation system at some point, the rest of your irrigation system may not have enough pressure to be able to adequately work. You also want to walk around your yard. Do you have any dips or holes that haven't always been there? As the water comes out, it can erode the ground underneath the surface and underneath the grass, and you slowly will get a dip or a hole in your lawn. If that's the problem and you've got an irrigation system around there, probably have a leak. So the third and really obvious part is, do you have any wet or squishy places in your yard? If you've got pooling water in your yard and you've got an irrigation system and it hasn't, flooded huge amounts of rain lately, then there's a really, really good chance that you might have a leak in that irrigation system. Those irrigation system and outside leaks can go undetected for a really long time and have a huge amount of wasted water and wasted money on your water bill. And that's a good way to check. You can use that meter as well to check if you don't have a separate irrigation meter. If you do have a separate irrigation meter, use that irrigation meter to check as well. And you can look for those spikes in on your water bill from yearly usage. if you use a lot of more water in July typically, but this July, did you use way more water than you typically do in July? So think about those aspects that you might have a leak in your irrigation system. So fixing and finding these leaks and repairing all these leaks, and if you have a leaky shower head and your aerators are old, it can get kind of costly and prohibitive to replace these aerators and shower heads, and you want to make sure that we help you out in that aspect. So one of the things that Cobb Water offers is we actually offer free water saving kits. And any Cobb Water System customer can apply for these kits, and we will mail these out to you, and it's a very simple process. But in that water saving kit, you will have a WaterSense labeled shower head that is brand new. You'll also have 2 of those bathroom sink aerators. Now, if you remember, you needed either a male or female aerator based on what type of faucet you have. These aerators will work with either a male or female spigot. So if you have, it's got an extra washer at the top. So if you have a female aerator, you just leave the gasket in. And if you've got a male, you just take the gasket out and it easily screws right into either a male or female. Now, if you've got one of those, the aerators that you have to have the tool to remove, this will not work with that. You'll have to actually go and purchase a new aerator for that. But this will work with either, it's a universal aerator, so it works with either male or female spigots. So you'll have 2 of these. You'll also have a swivel kitchen aerator that you can use, and it's got 2 different sprays on it. So it's kind of like a mini shower head. So it's got a stream and then the spray, and it also swivels and rotates. So when it's connected to your kitchen sink, you can actually move it around and be able to spray throughout the sink. You'll also have 2 packs of leak detector tablets. So you'll have 4 tablets. So you'll be able to check before and after. Remember, you check before you replace it to check and see if you have a leak, and then if you do have a leak and you replace the flapper, you want to make sure you check again after you replace the flapper to make sure that was the problem. So you'll have 4 leak detector tablets in that water saving kit. You'll also have a 5-minute shower timer. Now, not only do we want to replace those leaks, but we want you to save water overall. So you can place this in your shower, flip it over when you get in the shower, and try to finish that shower within that 5 minutes before the timer runs out. And we'll include some Teflon and plumber's tape as well. And that will help when you replace that shower head to make sure that you've got a good seal where you replaced it and you won't have any of those leaks coming out of the connection. Now, if you did test that toilet, use those leak detector tablets, tested your toilet, and you've got a leak in that toilet, you replaced the flapper and you still have a leak in your toilet, and you call a plumber and he recommends that you replace the toilet because it's older and it's just breaking down, and you might have a leak somewhere else in the toilet that you can't fix and you need to replace that toilet, we actually have a toilet rebate program. Now, the toilet rebate program is open to any Cobb County Water System customer. Now, you have to pay your bill directly to Cobb County Water System. So if you pay your bill to HOA or to a company, then right now you wouldn't be able to apply for it. But the residential rebate system, if you pay your bill directly to us and not to City of Marietta or any of the city utilities, it has to be to Cobb County Water System, and your home was built prior to 1993, the reason that that stipulation is in there is that in 1993, the federal and state standards were changed so that those high flow toilets that we're aiming to replace could no longer be installed in homes. So if your home was built after 1993, you usually got a little bit lower flow. You've got one of those lower flow, more efficient toilets. And you've received no more than 3 rebates in the past. So if you've applied for 3 rebates, then unfortunately you wouldn't be able to get any more rebates. But if you haven't, then you can continue to apply for them until you've gotten 3 rebates. And you purchase a WaterSense labeled toilet, so it's one of those efficient low flow toilets. You submit to the water system an itemized receipt and a toilet rebate application. then you will get $100 per toilet credit will be applied to your water bill. You're not going to get a check in the mail from us, but it will be applied to your water bill, which is why you have to be a Cobb County Water System customer to receive that rebate. And that's a great deal. That usually will help offset the cost of that toilet. So how do you find these rebates and the water saving kit? So if you look on our website, cobbstreams.org, at the very top you will see a button that says water conservation. So you want to click on that water conservation button. And within that water conservation button, you will see both the toilet rebate and the water saving kit. The water saving kit is just an online form that you fill out, and then we will mail you your water saving kit to you at home. And the toilet rebate, you'll have to print out the application, and you can fill out the application and submit it with your receipt, and it's got all the information as well as the guidelines that will qualify you for the toilet rebate. So you just submit the toilet rebate and we'll get that credit applied to your account as long as you qualify. So those are two great resources that we have with Cobb County Water System that can help you fix some of these leaks and search out some of these leaks. And again, I cannot stress the importance of using these methods and finding those leaks within your house and finding those leaks early. A couple of days and you could have lost thousands of gallons of water if you've got one of those leaks in your home and you don't know about it. Using your water bill is a great way to see if you happen to have a leak and then find that leak. But if you keep track and you keep an eye on things in your house, you don't have to wait until you get your water bill to see if you have a leak. And you can find that leak early, you can get that leak fixed earlier, and you cannot waste the water and the money on that water bill. So let's see if you've got any questions or want some more information, you can certainly type in the chat box and we will see if you've got any questions. And if you've got any questions and you can't think of them right now, or if you come up with any questions, you can go ahead and email me, and my email is right there, angie.marcus@cobbcounty.org. And you can look on our website, cobbstreams.org, and that will take you to the water conservation page. If you've got questions about general water system questions, or if you have questions about your water bill, you would want to go to cobbwater.org, and you'll be able to locate the customer service webpage there. And customer service also offers a leak credit that if you do have a leak and you have a really big water bill, they'll work with you if you get that leak repaired to help offset the costs on that water bill and to help offset some of the extra water that you used and the extra money that's on your water bill. So those are two great resources to keep track of. And we've also on our website, cobbstreams.org, got lots of volunteer opportunities and other events happening that you can certainly sign up with through that, as well as lots of other information that we might have. So let's see if we have any questions from anyone. It looks like we don't have any questions. And so again, if you've got any questions that you think of later, feel free to send me an email and I'll get an answer back to you as soon as we can. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and thank you very much for hunting down those leaks, and go out and become a leak detective in your home and see if you can find those leaks. If you do find a leak and you fix it, send me an email too and let me know about that, and let me know that you've got that leak detector badge and you found that leak and you fixed it. So thank you very much for becoming leak detectives today and for joining us, and hopefully you can flush out some of those leaks and find those in your home. So thank you so much.